like they have to make it look really complicated to make it look cool to you, right? But I mean, your instructor will tell you, just like, well, I will. Hair has already all been done every which way you can do it, right? Hair's been being done since like, what, like 1,000 years, right? The Egyptians started doing stuff, right? So I mean, how many times has somebody changed the length every different way it could ever be changed, right? How many times have we bleached it, dyed it, fried it, whatever, right? So I mean, it's all been done, you know? We just have to find what works for us, right? There's no right or wrong way. We have to find what works for us. Like, you have to find a color line you love working with, tools you feel invincible with, you know? And I mean, like, I just got off a plane, you know, and I'm gonna go into my salon. I have no idea what's on my books. Do you guys ever look at what's on your books next day? Like, stalking that client on Instagram, like, what does their hair look like? Oh my gosh, am I gonna be able to do it right? Like, I used to feel that way too. Once I felt really comfortable behind a pair of scissors, I really felt like that's where confidence comes from. Because if we go to the airport, right, we judge people's hair, right? Yeah, we do that. We're like, damn, she left the house like that? She tried to do that to her hair. Oh my gosh, you know. Or a dude, like, does he know the back of his line is not a line? Oh my God. Like, somebody hit a speed bump. So, you know, sorry, I'm judging in the airport. Like, if you get dressed up to go to the airport and you look like that, hey, I'm sorry, we got to talk. But let's play for a minute that we go to the airport and we see this beautiful head of hair walking. Just like, oh man, look, she wins. She's the best, right? And as it gets closer, like, oh, you know what? That blonde hair don't look so blonde at the root. Right? It's a little brassy. And the ends look a little blue. Like, man, they really kind of got the color messed up. What did we see from a distance? The shape. If you can create a great shape in hair, you can do anything, right? So really pay attention and focus on your cutting right now, because your foundation in cutting is the most important thing to be able to, like, perceptualize a cut in dry hair, right? Because I know all the rules for wet cutting, so I can break them in dry cutting, right? I can allow a shear to do something I would never do wet. I can do it in dry hair and it works out perfectly, right? Because I have the theory that I got from school, right? So I mean, again, think about if I did the best haircut in the world on her, right? I just crushed it. I could put 5 little foils, it's like a little Ozempic money piece right here in the front. We could do a little shadow root on that. It would look amazing, right? But if I did the worst haircut ever on this, where could I put them 5 foils that would save it? In the trash, probably, because it ain't gonna do nothing to make it worse. You know what I mean? So I know that, like, we look at color being like, hey, let's focus only on color. It's the big ticket item, right? Color is great. It's gonna add a lot of stuff to value to your services that you give, but really be foundational color. It's the strength of everything. And really, I put that on the back burner for myself because I thought it was too hard. And the reason being is because I was cutting with tools that didn't really highlight what I was trying to do. And these might not be the ones. That's why I have a lot of different stuff here if you want to look at something. But like, Hanzo has probably like 75 different types of scissors, maybe even 120 at this point. That's not to say that every one of those is right for you, right? Harry Potter, the wand picks you kind of thing. I feel like a lot of that happens. You might say, hey, working like kind of pie-shaped sections, working around the top, kind of coming into the front. So I've already done the back, did it real fast, right? Now we're in the front. But remember I already face framed her, right? So if I already face framed that, and I pick up this and I pull it back and over direct it into my sections and cut again, does it get shorter and change? Yeah. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that out. I've carved out enough to where I think that's a strong enough perimeter. And this is what I'm left with right here. So I'm going to take this section back. I'm going to over direct it just to where my sections were. Does that make sense? Just where my ear was there? So I'm not like over directing back here, just to the ear line. Right, like that. Now, I'm gonna cut it. So I do an angle. There's my underneath angle. Here's gonna be my top angle. Nice and soft. Drop it out. Same thing on the other side. Now, you want to do this game where you pull that section out on each side. Don't just, I parted it here, I'm going to part it there on the other side. Does anybody have the same density on either side? No. Never, right? Even if they have it right down the center, usually they're a right-handed side or the left-handed side, whatever they're on, it's been played with more, so it might be thin, right? So you kind of have to just judge it, and this is how I judge it. Is that enough for the front section? No. You get it, right? I want to leave enough out that if I was going to style that by itself, it's a strong enough section. If I was going to curl that piece right there, it'd be fine, right? Yeah. But if I took some away, would it be thinner? Yeah. So I want it to be about that thick. If it's thicker, then it might be too heavy, right? So I'm right in that kind of Goldilocks zone. but it's a little smaller of a piece than what you had over there. So don't worry about that being off. Again, it's about density and balance when you're doing it visually right there, right? So we're gonna do the same thing, coming out at an angle, over directing back to my previous sections. Scooping and kind of carving, peeling that layer back. Really nice. Go underneath, just clean it up a little bit. Much. Boom. So now we've got the basis of the haircut done. Now what I've saved myself from is having to do a couple things. I'm not gonna have to point cut this haircut now, right? If I wanted to add some dimensional movement, I can do things like this. I can take my shear. I'm slowly closing as I go down. You can imagine if I did that with any other shear, it would chop the hair off, right? So if I want to create soft movement, a little bit of opening for when my hands go through, I can do that without leaving lines. Any other shear that I would use to do this, I would chop a hole through the hair, or I would scrape the hair. You'd hear it too. You know what I'm talking about? Like, when your clients hear that, they pull away. They go, you know.
How much is that shear?
This one by itself is about $1,600. Okay, that's why I call it the eraser. If I have a scissor mark, if I have a bleach spot, something I need to kind of work on, that little thing can diffuse it enough to where it doesn't work. If you cut guys' hair, scissor over comb, I don't use clippers or trimmers or anything like that in my work, so I do everything by hand. So I'll cut it all down, and if I have a shadow or something from their scalp, I use those fine tooth blenders to blend it. But I don't use fine tooth blenders in women's hair or even longer hair. I use this sucker. And I have two in my box right now that have a similar size of teeth, but the top of it has a different edge, right? Both of them have a different, we talked about different edges. This one is our most sold across the whole company. So this works, I do this on everybody, it works all the time. You only need to do it once every like 5 or 6 months, okay? Because you'll see how much you can texturize. So if we do layers, right, long layers, they all live up here. Does that make sense? If we do a shag, the layers go down even farther, right? So if we don't want to cut into the layers, we just cut, I'm gonna section them out here. Oh. I'm gonna section them off so I don't end up picking them up, okay? So those are where my layers live up in the top. Y'all ever use these clippers with a rubber band in them?
No.
Awesome, especially if you do extensions. They don't allow the hair to slip out so much because they got a little rubber band in there.
Never seen them in my life.
And they don't like leave a crease in the hair. They're awesome. Framar makes those. They're not very expensive to give this. Cosmetology or wherever. So now we have the length and the bulk, okay? What I want to do is lighten that bulk up. Now, this is a mannequin, so there's not a whole lot to do, but I do a lot of Polynesian hair, and you can imagine how thick some of that hair gets, right? Asian hair, Hispanic hair gets really, really thick in the back, right?
Yes, sir.
So this section might be really big if you have someone with really, really thick hair, okay? If you got hair like me, it's gonna be a little bit, okay? So what I wanna do is I wanna section off the density so I can't see through it. This is what I mean by that. If I can see through the hair, then I don't have the right section. Take a little bit more. Do you see what I mean by now? Right? It's, you might cut too much off. What I'm gonna do next is twist cutting, okay? You may have seen this done, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. I'm not saying anybody's is wrong, but everyone else's is wrong but mine. A little hair joke. So rather than holding it to the side, or out at graduation, I'm holding it at natural fall. Holding it at natural fall keeps all those layers in the same place, but I'm gathering up enough hair instinctively that when I spin it like this, it's about the width of a pencil up here, okay? So if I had extensions woven in there right now, right, I could pick that up and do the same thing right here. This is what I was talking about, why I don't point cut extensions anymore. So I twisted it just a couple times. It's not as important how many times you twist it, but I'm just twisting enough to get my hands on it. Does that make sense? I'm twisting it. It's also gonna help me spread it out. See with my thumb now? I'm spreading that out a little bit. See that? Spreading it out. Now, what you might see people is they'll cut into that spin. Thank you, don't ever do that. But I mean, they're doing it and it's fine for them. It's not fine for me. Or you might see people come in and do that and they'll kind of put different layers in there. You can see. I'm gonna take a lot of hair out here and you're gonna see the hair, you're not gonna see the lines, okay? So I'm gonna use the back of this, push it through. See how it barely moves the hair? If I go at an angle, I'm gonna chop too much, okay? See how I'm not having to open my scissor up either to take it out? Right? I'm gonna drop down into the mids there, a little bit more. Now, can anybody see a scissor mark?
No.
Not even a little one, right? But let's say I got on an angle and I put a little scissor mark in there, right? See how I spun it up? When I unroll that, anything that I would have done would have been hidden anyways. But like, look at how well that came out. It's perfectly fitted now. So when I style that in different layers, the curl's gonna come out so well, you're gonna sell 10 times more product here.
So does that work good with like somebody with really thick hair?
Oh, I'm right-handed, I'm not doing it. But I'm in a rounded shape on the edge. And softly work the edge down. Now you see me, I'm sliding with the hair a little bit now.
Are you
That's
doing
just-
layers or like more so thinning?
Yep, layers.
Okay, so I have a question. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but whenever I
Really soft and blended, right?
Whenever you hand scissors, you're gonna face the
With a shear
scissors
like this, I can kind of just run it through.
and the handle towards
Never
the person.
catches.
Okay, so that way you don't cut through the front.
So, once I've got my perimeter, my facial perimeter done, now we can talk about layers. See how if I wasn't talking, how quickly this all works, right? Really, really fast work. Now, if we hold a section here. Okay, sorry, I know. If I hold a piece up, square it, drop it, heavy line. If I hold it at an angle, angle it, square it, heavy line. Angle it, softer but still pretty heavy, right? Again, the reason is because when we close that shear, we're creating a lot of blunt edges, right? There's really not any softness blend, right? Does hair look like this? You see what I mean? It's kind of moves all over the place, right? So we don't want a seam or an edge. Again, so far we have put no scissor marks in the hair, right? Remember I said we're not going to point cut today. You don't always have to. Point cutting isn't bad. I love point cutting, but it's there for. Let me put this down a little bit. I'm a short king. There we go. Much better.
At least you're not scared to admit it.
No, I wasn't gonna wear my platform shoes today. So typically, if I took a section this big and cut my first layer, it's gonna be a little strong, right? You're gonna see it. And then again, that would be because I was chopping the layer in. But like, when I hold this out now, what you're gonna notice is, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Underneath here, we're gonna see shorter to longer. Remember that? Remember we beveled it? So we're gonna see shorter to longer. So now I'm gonna come out. Now I'm under tension. See how I'm holding hair at tension? See that shorter to longer underneath there? Right? There's a little one I wanna clean up. See, I can still clean it up. See how soft and diffused my edges can be? Really, really nice. So what I'm doing is I'm coming up. Now normally you would leave way less than that, right? You'd come up like this. And maybe you'd cut or you cut across, right? This is gonna look a little weird. I'm coming out at an angle. Look how much extra I'm leaving, right? Now I'm under tension. I'm gonna drop the tension and lean the section over. That way I can get up underneath it, okay? I still think I need a little extra. And I'm not, right? Have you ever slide cut and you gotta kind of pump the shear to get it to not scrape? I'm closing in one motion on the way up. See how soft it starts to get? Really diffused, nice and soft, very controlled. I'm looking to kind of come to a point with my underneath layering and my top layering. And again, I just took a giant section, so that would have probably been the equivalent of like maybe 3 sections or maybe even 4, depending on how small you're going. Got a nice clean line, drop it in, disappears. No layer line, right? Now normally what would we see?
Yeah.
Bring around the rosy, right? But again, the only reason we're not seeing that is because I'm doing something crazy that you can't do. I'm just using a tool designed to do that, right? When I first started doing this, nobody would have said, put a curved blade on it. Like, hell no, it's not gonna, it's just gonna not work. So again, I'm gonna take a you can see, being very efficient because of my tool use allows me to be extremely fast with my work. But if I tried to do this with a wet cutting shear, I wouldn't be able to get this kind of precision.
When you say that blade is curved, where is it curved? On the inside or the outside?
Yeah, are you saying
On the inside, I'm gonna come show you. I'm gonna come show you right now.
It's on the
it's not an Afro shear either?
Come on down. Come in here. Come on.
The blades on the top,
That's the blade. These are the teeth.
the teeth on top.
Now, I bet you didn't think it was gonna look that soft when I brought the teeth out, right? Trust me, I didn't either. I don't even know what possessed me to try that one day, but I was feeling lucky. But that kind of a blend in a haircut, I can't get any other way. You know, I'm gonna run around. I'm running with scissors. I'm
Don't
running
run,
with scissors.
sir.
See the teeth size on that? Is that pretty aggressive? Looks like it would like chop straight inside, and they're mirrored. They're the same on this side as that side. Okay. This shear is different. Look in here, they're curved inside. Can you see how they're curved? Is it visible from there? Doesn't smell like shirt? Maybe? Is that better? Can y'all see it back there in the back? I want to walk into the crowd. We point cut them, or we use our texturizing shear to blend them and soften them, right? With this kind of a shear, you don't ever have to put them in. This is a kind of a shear that does a little bit more of a peeling motion. A peeling motion. I'm never going to close the blade like this. I'm never going to close it like a cutting shear. I'm going to softly push the blade through the hair. That way I don't get scissor marks. The hair gets really soft. It kind of stands out, right? It's like doing a haircut on a little boy that wants to quit moving. You can see like every scissor mark, right? So something like this becomes like a very forgiving shear. Also, this is the #1 shear for blending extensions, right? So if you guys are getting into extension work, which you all should do that, it is such a great way to make money, and it's fast. It's never been better. Using a shear like this will blend your layers. It's one thing to pull swatches and match them to someone's hair and sew those in. It's a totally another thing when you can make it disappear with a scissor, right? Because everybody knows when they walk, move their hair like this, you see that big train of hair moving all funky, right? But if you can blend it into their hair with the right tool, you don't see the differentiation between their hair. And if you've ever cut a wig, or if you've ever cut extension, it doesn't grow back, right? It's very scary. So it's like when you cut it and you see that scissor mark, you're like, oh no, right? This is a very forgiving shear. Had I had this in my kit when I started, I think I would have been in a very different position right now. So when we talk about what type of tools you all need, you know, for your career, which traditionally everybody has kind of a line cutter like this. Did you have a question? Sorry.
I do. What do you mean you being a big
Point cutting, because it's giving you a softer exit point. Something like this, I can't even cut through. Like if I hold the section up and try to cut across, it just lays it right down. You could say it's a very forgiving shear, but as you see me work with it, I don't use this like a normal shear. I peel and carve. So slide cutting, if you've seen people slide cut before, I don't slide cut under tension. And I know that some of these words seem crazy, but I'll explain it as I'm cutting. I just want you guys to get a concept of the different shears before we start, okay? So like I said, if I had all those things available to me, probably the second to the top is the line shear we have. We don't need this right now. But the difference is, and again, I'm showing you so you see, it's not just what the shear looks like, okay? Don't go looking for shears that look cool with zebra stripes and gasoline colors on them and gold this, gold that, because that's a sign of it. Honestly, the steel, if it can be painted or can absorb that, it's porous. And what do we know about porous hair? It can break, right? Not that it's going to. I mean, there's a lot of shears that have tonality to them and they're not, you don't drop them away, they don't break. I'm just saying, there's a difference in the steel quality so you can put a different edge on it. This one has a very flat blade here and kind of a curved back blade there. Anybody ever seen a pizza roll cutter? You know, like rolls across the pizza, it doesn't move the cheese, right? But if you take a steak knife, what happens to the cheese, right? So this is kind of like that. Or if it's like, have you ever cut with a paper cutter where you put the big stack of paper and you go, right? Now if you take that same stack and you take your scissors to it, what happens? The stack pushes out, right? It's the same thing with hair, right? So That being said, when we're doing a wet cut, being able to compress all that hair together keeps us under control. Taking small sections keeps us under control. Keeping their head in a static place keeps the hair perfect. But the longer we take, it gives them a chance to move, right?
I have a question. So I keep hearing you say,
No, because when they come in, they don't ever see their hair like this. So one of two things happens. One of two things. This is usually what happens. They're like, don't touch it. I freaking love it. And then they're like, can you do a Brazilian blowout on this to make it stay? And like, sometimes we talk. The other thing would be is then when I wave it out, it's such a different looking curl, right, for them. It's not stacking because it's been, the power's been taken out of it by flattering. So rather than being out here, it's hanging. So it gives it that kind of California vibe. And again, they love that. It's just, again, you're giving them something different. A lot of people can style their own hair. If you can style it better, give them something a little different, they love that. They want to see different. So I do a 15-minute haircut, okay? I used to do an hour and a half haircut, an hour haircut, but the client is usually in the chair for about 30, 45 minutes. She'll get a pre-blow dry to this. I'll cut her hair for 15 minutes, and then a lot of times they just leave pre-cut but straight. But if they want to wave out, my assistant would just say 15 minutes, just work real quickly through it, do a nice little soft thing, and they'd be out the door. When I first started in Houston, I think I charged $7 or $14 for a haircut, okay? And I'm gonna go through my pricing, not to be weird, but I want you guys to know what's out there and what's potential. I had no idea what I could charge and what was right and where I fit in that schedule. And you'll be able to price yourself out when you get to it. But you need to set yourself up for the goal you want. If you want to charge $100 for a haircut, you need to find $100 haircut people that you follow and you like and emulate that kind of a vibe. Because if you're just charging somebody $100 and not producing all the other parts of it, it isn't going to work out. And trust me, there is so much more to my billing and my salon and why they're paying that much than just my haircut. The way we talk to people, the way we present our salon to them, what we offer them in our salon, how we take care of them in the salon, the way we speak to them.